Hi and welcome to OnSide SA. Budge and I are going to keep you up to speed. We will speak to our international pundit. He's still in his Fulham studio. He's going to Canada soon, but he's in his studio. And Budge, we're going to go through, firstly, last one standing.
Last one standing, Paul. Four for four on the weekend. Paul, two were...
Fulham were in trouble.
Yeah.
Okay,
Sure
so the four now, they've got a few they can pick from. The two who were on Fulham were Ken Moby and Marco Govia. They were under pressure.
Severe.
And Dick Goss and who's that other, Adam
Murta, yeah.
So they were comfortable.
They were cruising on
Balls,
they
thought it was going to be a playoff between the two of them. Unfortunately, Ken the Comb and Marco came through.
Yeah.
So
Paul, that's Paul. Obviously, this weekend. Now, there's of the teams that they can still use. All four can use Brentford, Everton, Ipswich, Leicester, and Southampton. Okay. So a couple of may use these teams, while the other teams that they can use. One can use Fulham, one can use Wolves, two Palace, two West Ham, one Bournemouth, and one Tottenham.
Well, they can't miss.
So we'll see. But guys, well then, I'll send you the teams that you can still pick. I know you know what's going on, having got this far, but as soon as you can get them, and Saturday morning early is the best, so I can get the PDF sent out. But
all right, so
good luck and get studying.
Let's talk to our man Steve. Hello, Steve. How's Blighty?
It's fine. We're in a little mini heat wave, 25 Celsius yesterday and today. Won't last though.
Fantastic. Get that deck chair out, Steve. Right, we need you and Budge especially to... I did not watch the Barcelona game, but you both guys...
Yeah. Steve, we'll start first with the Tuesday game, Arsenal PSG. Little bit unlucky, Arsenal.
Yeah. I think they were, but now, they've got an uphill battle. They're going to have to really play well to get something. It's you sort of felt that PSG could sort of somehow step up a gear, but Arsenal gave it a go. It was just a shame that they lacked a little bit of loss of concentration in those first 5 minutes, and chasing the game after that. But it's going to be tough for them to go to Paris and get a result.
Yeah, hard to win without a centre forward. I think it come back to haunt them. And also I think with Partey being suspended, Declan Rice had to sit a bit deeper, and he's been attacking, getting in the box. Partey plays in the set. It'll be a difficult task. I don't see them getting through as much as obviously I'd love to see them score first. But Man United did it a couple of years ago. Rashford, they went there with losing. And
Ferguson's era?
No. But remember Rashford, they played in pink and scored the winner in injury time, but tough task for the Gunners. Great game last night, Steve. 3-3.
Yeah, really exciting game. It's I think that's what you come to expect from Barcelona now. Again, I think it's a tough for Barcelona because Inter at home are a different kettle of fish. I was surprised that they took a lead, but Barcelona just threw everything at them in that first half. Yeah. The only worry is that they play such a high line, Barcelona, that you sort of always feel that they're capable of scoring but giving goals away as well. But 17 years old still, Yamin Lamal. Just seemed a sort of different class to most of the players on there. So that one's really nicely set up. That could really go either way.
All right, who you got in the final, Steve?
I think the final that I guess a lot of neutrals want to see, it will be PSG against Barcelona. I think two exciting teams. Obviously, you'd love to see Arsenal get through, but I think they've got a hard battle. But it just shows all those years that the PSG owners were bringing in the Galacticos to try and win the Champions League, and then
That's right.
they've obviously changed their tactics, bring in a really good manager, and got this sort of team of young players playing superbly.
Yeah, amazing. The last time Barcelona won the Champions League, Luis Enrique was the manager. Anyway, two big games tonight, especially for the studio here. Europa League, Athletic Bilbao versus Man United. Steve, can my boys avoid defeat?
Well, I think they're going to have to really play above themselves. I mean, this is the tough game for them. If they can come away drawing, I think they'll really fancy their chances. But it's going to be hard. Rangers came unstuck there. I mean, they know Bilbao obviously are playing to get through to the final, which would be at their own grounds. So I think they're up against a very passionate crowd. They love their football there, and I think this is going to be a good game.
Yeah.
Steve, can you hear me?
Yeah.
What does another kettle of fish mean?
Sorry?
What does another kettle of fish mean?
You said that's another kettle of fish. What do you mean?
No, I didn't. I think that must have just been lost in translation over the ocean.
Okay, fair enough.
You know, it comes from when they used to have picnics. They used to have a kettle and cook fish in a kettle outside. So it's something different. It's another kettle of fish.
Well, I hope United plays something different compared to the league we've been playing. But we're unbeaten in the Europa League. And the worst thing is, Steve, my mates have got me a ticket for next week, Thursday. So hopefully we get a good result. We get a good hiding.
If you win, get on the plane.
If we get away, I don't see us winning, especially when I backed Athletic Bilbao to win it. But let's hope it's close and competitive. Tottenham, Bodo Glimt, Paul, what do you think?
I think we'll go through. I did a little bit of research on them, and you were the one who told me plastic pitch, 8,000 stadium, which doesn't help us. But we're at home first, so I'd like to get ahead. But you know, they beat Lazio. Okay, it was penalties. Lazio, if they came into Spurs, we'd expect a good game.
Yeah.
So you never know, but I cannot expect a team called Bodo Glimt beating us. But I hope to win by 2 goals at home.
Yeah, but it have to be 2 goals.
Have to be 2 to go to
No, they've played 9 home European games this year. 3 in the Champions League and 6 in the Europa League.
Yes.
How many draws?
1.
None. They've won all 9. But I watched them play Olympiacos, destroyed them. I watched them play Lazio. Paul, it's freezing. I don't know if the pitch is icy or what. These guys just played random. So Spurs have got it all, but it's an artificial pitch, Paul.
Yeah, that's second league. Are they a good side?
They're okay. Yeah, I don't think they've won 1 European away game. So it's up to Spurs to go there and destroy them, which I think they'll be. But 2 goals you get through, 1 goal's touch and go.
Touch and go, yeah.
Anyway, the other Europa Conference League, Steve, Real Betis, Fiorentina. Who you see going through?
It'll be a really good game.
Yeah.
I think Betis. I just think that they seem to be on a roll at the moment.
Yeah.
You know, with that player that used to play for
Anthony.
United.
What a player!
Anthony. So look. You know, they're gonna. That's a good game. I think Chelsea are going to walk the other game. You know,
Be careful, first leg, Steve.
Easily.
What do you mean?
It's another artificial pitch. It'll be in the snow. Djurgårdens, the Iron Stones is their nickname, and I think Chelsea will go through, but the first leg will be tight.
I think they'll go through.
It'll be snowing all over, you know, but Chelsea have got so much depth. Mini heat waves, yeah, like won't be in Sweden. Steve, big game tonight in the Premiership. Notts Forest, Brentford.
Big game.
Well, I mean, Forest are obviously still smarting. Obviously, you know, knocked out of the FA Cup.
Yeah.
This is their season now. Is going to be defined by how they finish. And this won't be an easy game. Brentford, you know, away from home have been pretty spectacular in the last couple of months. So, you know, Forest can see if they can win this one tonight, they can create a little bit of a gap between the team in sort of 6th place, for example, to finish in that top 5. I can see this being very close, sort of 1 goal in it.
Yeah.
Forest, for me, starts as favourite, but, you know, Brentford are not an easy team to beat at the moment on the road. So I think, you know, I can see this being something like 1-0 or 1-1, really low scoring.
Yeah, totally agree with you. Anyway, Steve, on to the weekend's Premiership fixtures.
And, I want your tips here, Steve.
Friday, kick off on a Man City team who seem to find form against a formed team in the Premiership, Wolves. Any chance of an upset?
Well, look, Wolves really, I mean, having a great run. I think since manager's gone there, I mean, they've really, you know, well, the last 6 games particularly as well. Look, I mean, Wolves are going to look at this and think, look, you know, they can't finish much higher than they are.
Yeah.
They're not going to finish any lower than they are. But looking at it, it's a free hit for them. City, on the other hand, you're not sure what you're going to get. I mean, for me, they're not firing on all cylinders. You know, they're in little patches. But Wolves, I think, will give them a really good game. And again, for players like Cunha, you know, they're putting themselves in the shop window. There's a lot of speculation about where he might go next, and I've just got a feeling that this will be a tight game. I think there'll be goals. I think City will come out on top. Again, they can't afford to slip up because the teams are on their heels. So I think you could be looking at sort of a 3-1, 3-2, that sort of game.
Yeah, over 2.5 goals. Both teams to score yesterday, 11-10. That looks the right way, but I think City will win fairly comfortably. I agree, 3-1 could be a great scoreline. Steve, Aston Villa.
They need to win.
Disgraceful in the, well, I shouldn't say disgraceful in the Cup semi-final. They got totally outfought like they did a couple of weeks prior when Palace beat them 4-1. I think this is a redemption stakes for Villa, and I think your team's in trouble.
Yeah, I think that we don't have a particularly good record at Villa Park. Villa know that this is a game they can't afford to slip up because they're out the cup now, they're out the Champions League, and they were really well and truly outmuscled and outfought and well beaten in the end against Palace. So we understand Rashford is out for the season now. So I think so they've lost a little bit up front, but with Watkins and Rodgers, I think they'll be too strong for us. Look, on the other hand, we haven't given up hope of a European Europa Conference spot, so I think we'll give it a go. But I can see Villa winning this by at least one. Yeah,
I went Villa to win over 2.5 goals at 15-10, but Villa to win both teams to score at 5-2 is definitely a player. Everton, the second last game at Goodison Park. Surely they've got to beat Ipswich Town, Steve?
You would think so. I mean, Ipswich know they're down now. I mean, they've tried sort of gallantly, but it's been their home form that's let down. But away, they've been competitive. Yeah. But Everton, as you say, penultimate game at Goodison. They're going to look at this to think this is the game we can win, and the crowd are obviously, it's going to be not quite party time, but almost like that. They're without Tarkowski, who's out for the season, but I still think they'll have too much for Ipswich.
Steve, I see, Budge, your stats you put up here. The last 5 home games, Everton, they drew 4 and lost 1.
Man City.
7-1-1 in the last 5 of them.
No, they played.
I mean, they're making themselves. They're hard to beat. I mean, if you look at their away records, they haven't lost that many. So, but they have won a lot. But they're pretty safe, and I
they'll
think
have a go at home.
The fans, they will have a go at home, and against a team who are relegated. Having said that, the brakes are off for Ipswich. They've got nothing to lose. Again, there'll be 1 or 2 players in the shop window. Gallop obviously will be. A lot of teams are linked with him, especially as I understand there's a release clause in his contract, and I think that as a young English forward, you'd expect a number of clubs to come in for him in the summer.
Yeah, definitely. I think he'll score. He was like 22 to centre scored, Delap. But over 2.5 goals, both teams to score, 15-10. And I think there could be 3 or 4 goals here, Steve. Everton have a go, and so will Ipswich. Over 3.5 goals is 23-10. So got to fancy Everton. I just think the emotion of being a Goodison, and those Scousers can make one hell of a racket, and 2 games to go. Oh, I'd hate to be there. Leicester City, Southampton. Steve, I think the betting's the wrong way around. Of what I've seen lately, Southampton are the better team. I know they're playing away from home, but
they don't win at home, Leicester.
Of the 2, I fancy the Saints.
Well, we're the Saints.
Well, if you look at Leicester's record, their last 9 home league games, lost 9, scored 0. Yeah. I mean, it's a shocking
0
record. In fact, in the last 20 games, won 1, draw 1, and lost 18. And you think they sacked Steve Cooper when they weren't bottom, they weren't that far adrift. And since then, since Rude won his first game, but since then, it's 5 points. 5 points is all he's got in something like 21 games. Yeah. I mean, if he stays there after the summer, it will be unbelievable, really. Look, both teams are poor. Both teams are poor. As you say, Southampton have put up a little bit more of a fight than Leicester. I can see Leicester scoring. I think, to go 10 games without a goal at home, I'm not sure when any team has ever got as bad as that in recent memory. So, these are two poor teams, 2 of the poorest teams to have graced the Premiership in recent years. It could even end up 0-0. But I think there will be goals. I think both teams are going to want to at least end, not humiliated by their records. So, for me, I fancy Leicester to maybe get a result. But only just.
Yeah. One game I won't be watching, but if I had to side with one, it'll definitely be Southampton.
Me too, Southampton.
Arsenal, Bournemouth, Steve. Arsenal, obviously, a bigger game on Wednesday night, the second leg at PSG. They will rotate. I think there's goals in this. One thing about Bournemouth, they concede and they score goals. Can they cause the upset?
Look, they can do that. They haven't been. If you think a couple of months ago, they were flying, and teams were. A lot of pundits were saying that they could make a Champions League place. They've all really fallen away in the last few games. United, I thought Fulham should have got a point there. United deserved a point. I understand that the Evan Nielsen red card has been rescinded, so obviously I think that's good for them. But look, Arsenal, even if they rotate, I think they're going to want to finish at a high in the league. They don't want to be looking over their shoulder and maybe being caught for second place. So I think they'll just about have enough, Arsenal, but they will have one eye on Wednesday for sure.
Yeah, I think goals is the way to go into that. On to our second page in our Premiership fixture list, and we got Brentford, Man United, Steve. Fortunately for United, Brentford play Thursday. Otherwise, I think we'd be a sitting duck. But 7-10 Brentford. Poof.
Yeah, I think they're going to be favourites, Brentford, only because you expect whatever result in Spain, United are going to want to try and keep their powder dry as best they can for the return leg. As you say, Brentford are playing sort of Thursday and Sunday, so I think Brentford will be favourites, and you sort of have that memory of a couple of seasons ago when they humiliated United, that 4-0. So I think Brentford will probably be a bit too strong, even though at home they've been really poor in the last couple of months themselves.
Yeah. Now for me, it's both teams to score. United, I don't know, they're a terrible watch at the moment. Why he doesn't play two up front, give the youngster Obi a game, is just beyond me. We've got nothing to lose in the league. Just give these kids a chance. But he's trying to, I don't know what he's trying to do. But
he's on thin ice with Ange. Him and Ruud Gullit.
And he's out of his depth. But anyway, what can we say? Brighton, Newcastle, Steve, big game on Sunday.
Yeah, very big game. I mean, Brighton looked as if they were going to lose to West Ham and came back with two big goals at the end. And Newcastle are on a run. If they play to their potential, I can see Newcastle getting a result. I think there'll be goals. There's no question. Yeah. And I've just got a feeling if Newcastle looking around them, they know that they can get a Champions League place if they win the next couple. So I think there'll be goals. I've got a feeling Newcastle might just be too strong. Yeah, what's
the FA Cup clash at Newcastle? And Bradford knocked them out in extra time, and we've got a bit spicy, Steve. I'm going to be looking at the red card and the bookings markets. It got spicy, and there was a lot of midfield tackles, and we know the Italians and Brazilians, but Brighton have also got a few guys in the middle of the park that kick a few people. But of the two sides, you've got to fancy Newcastle, but Brighton had their number in that game, and it wouldn't surprise me if it happened that way. But I'm definitely going to be looking at the red and yellow cards in that particular clash. West Ham, Tottenham. Paul, if West Ham beat you, they go above you.
Yeah, I think they played quite well with the new manager, West Ham. They haven't been the worst. They're a side that can score goals. Tottenham depends what happens tonight, and I can't tell you which team's going to turn up with Spurs, but we've got the ability to beat anybody. But I hope we win the tonight, so we've got a bit of bounce in our step. But a year ago I said no, we'll roll West Ham. Yeah. But now they're a different side with Potter. Yeah. Tough game.
Well, you've been at that ground, beautiful ground, Olympic Stadium,
You can have it. It's got an athletic track around it. So
worst thing for any soccer pitch.
We lost 1-0 when I went and watched. With the days when Dyer was centre half and the big striker scored for him. He didn't even know it. Dyer missed it, hit him on the foot. We were 1-0 down. It was miles away. Yeah. It was miles away.
Binoculars.
You need binoculars there. Yeah.
All right, Steve. How do you see it going?
Yeah, look, I mean, West Ham are not playing that well. I mean, maybe slightly better than they were under Lopetegui, but West Ham fans are not happy, particularly at home. They're struggling at home. Yeah. Tottenham, you're not sure what you're going to get. Obviously, as Paul says, if whatever the result tonight, you think Tottenham are going to rotate because they really got to get through away next week in inside the Arctic Circle. So I think it's going to be. It's not a game I particularly want to watch, but I think maybe West Ham might just edge it only because Tottenham will have one eye on Europe.
Yeah, win and draw West Ham for me. Big game on Sunday, Chelsea, Liverpool. I cannot believe the betting here, Steve. Which way you see it going?
Yeah, I think Liverpool, they've won the league. I don't think they're going to just say we're on the beach now. I think they're going to want to continue their run. They've only lost once away, as we know recently, and I'm sure they're going to want to go to Chelsea and prove a point, because Chelsea have had the sign over them over a number of years, more often than not. So, I think that Chelsea, for me, aren't playing that well.
I just cannot believe 21-10. I've already started taking doubles with Liverpool. 21-10. I took
Chelsea are good at home.
Paul, but of all the teams that they've beat, they're the bottom of they've won 6, I think 6-2.
6-1.
So what I did is I had a look at the teams. It's the bottom 7. They haven't beat one decent team.
Okay.
Now, for me, Liverpool, I took Andrew Jackson. Remember, he was our second, and I went to the Chelsea-Liverpool game. You cannot believe the actual hatred between the sets of fans. It started, remember Mourinho with a ghost goal in the Champions League? The fans don't like each other. And I just cannot believe that Liverpool are going to go there and lie down. 21-10.
They'll never lie down, but Chelsea, I agree with you.
Paul,
you made a point with the bottom sides. That's the point.
Paul, Chelsea, bigger game tonight. I know they've got to try and finish in the top 5, but the betting can't be 12-10 Chelsea and 21-10.
No, I agree with you. I agree.
So Liverpool, my value bet, 21-10. I think Liverpool will 7-10 win and draw. I don't see Chelsea winning. I'm all over Liverpool in this particular game. On Monday,
Crystal Palace
versus Forest. Paul, I was really impressed with Crystal Palace. Yeah, they gave Aston Villa a hiding, and even at midweek, I didn't fancy them against Arsenal.
They were good.
They played great. They drew 2-2, and I think they can beat Forest. It'll be a tight game. I went the easy way.
Be a good game.
I took 15-10 Crystal Palace to score over 1.5 goals.
Okay, all right.
Just, I know we've just lost Stevie B.
He'll be back.
I'll
get him back.
Yep.
Right, let's keep moving, or should we go on to...
Well, let's go on to the champion. They've got the championship up here, Paul. It's last week in the championship, and a lot of pressure games.
Last week?
This is the last week, yeah. So especially for teams like my beloved Preston.
Right,
Okay,
well, let's have a look at your beloved Preston. I cannot believe how they've slid.
Paul, we've been cantering, and
you're looking at the top half and you're at the bottom. Well, let's have a look at the goals. I mean, the game. You 5-1 to go to Bristol.
Oh, Paul, I just can't see it. You know, Bristol City. I watched them play Leeds on Monday night. They got totally outplayed. But this is a big game. They've got to get it. If they win this, they're in the playoffs.
Oh, they're in.
They're in the playoffs. They 5th. They get a draw. Maybe they'll sneak in, but they've got to win. Their home form, Paul, is unbelievably.
Okay,
but
Burnley have qualified, eh?
Burnley have qualified, yeah. Bristol City, I hate to say it. I think my boys are going to have to score Preston. So I think we will, but I think we could get well beat. Second game, Burnley-Millwall. Now, Burnley are going to win the league. You know, unfortunately, Leeds won on Monday, and they've got an easier game. So I think Burnley are going to rotate here. Millwall are still on the outskirts of the promotion playoff places. It's got to be Burnley here. Only problem is, are they going to rotate their squad? If they do that, obviously Burnley come into the play, but if they do play their best team, Burnley, there should only be one result. Yeah. Coventry City, Middlesbrough. I can't believe Middlesbrough, they got beat last week. Just could not believe what I was watching. Coventry got beat as well. They lost 1-0 at Luton Town. If Coventry win this, Paul, they're in the playoffs.
So then Bristol win, they both go through.
They're both in the playoffs. I think Coventry City are certainties, Paul. Middlesbrough, you never know what you're going to get from them. That's Michael Carrick's team. Yes. They're just so in and out. I think 11-10 Coventry City is a good thing. Now, Derby, Stoke City. If this game ends in a draw, I think both teams are safe. So 22-10, the draw definitely looks the right way to go. I'm obviously hoping Stoke City win, because then my beloved Preston can go above them. But for me, I think the right play there is 22-10, the draw.
Okay.
On to our second page, Norwich City and Cardiff. Cardiff City are relegated, which may help them here. Norwich City can't win a game. I was on them last week. They drew 0-0 at home. I needed them to score 0-0. They've just gone off the boil. Yeah. They've only won 1 in 11. They haven't won any of their last 6. They fired the manager. They're just limping towards the end of the season. If I was going to have a bet, it would be both teams to score. I looked at the price. It was around about 7.5 to 10.
Are any teams definitely done?
Yes, Cardiff City and Plymouth.
Plymouth gone as well, so there's one more to go.
One more to go,
okay,
yeah.
Fine,
so that's the problem. Plymouth playing Leeds. The way Leeds are playing, this should be a total annihilation. 1-3 should be in all your bets. If Leeds win this, they win the league. And obviously they're going to go there with a ton of supporters to win the league. Plymouth are gone. They've got great home form. They've won their last 3. I watched them beat Sheffield United on ESPN. Great result, but unfortunately they're down, so it's not going to play well. And you've got to fancy Leeds to beat them. Portsmouth, Hull City. This is a big game for my Preston boys. Simple reason. If Portsmouth beat Hull City, Preston are safe. But if they get a point and Preston lose, we're in serious trouble. I think this is going to end in a draw. Portsmouth at home, not the worst of form. Ironically, the only team that's beat them in the last 6 or 7 was relegated, Plymouth. But 27-10 the draw would definitely be my suggestion in that game. The next game, Sheffield United and Blackburn. The Sheffield United manager's come out and said he's going to rotate his players. The playoffs are next week. So he's got nothing to gain. He's going to win. He's going to finish 3rd. Blackburn have come well. They've won their last 4, so they're on the outskirts of the playoff places. So if they can get a result here and the 2 teams above them, Bristol City and Coventry, don't get a result, they may sneak into the playoff. But for me, you've got to have to sit and wait to see what Sheffield United team selected. Yeah, but I think they're going to rotate. So
are Sunderland safe?
Sunderland are 4th. They're guaranteed 4th.
So they're in the playoffs.
Yeah, they're going to be in the playoff. Yeah. When we go on to the Sunderland QPR, Sunderland have been atrocious, Paul. They've lost their last 4. They've only won 1 in their last 6. The manager's come out and he said he's going to play his best team because they've got to find form going into the playoffs. I took Sunderland to win and over 2.5 goals. It was like 18-10. QPR have a go. They've won their last 2 away from home. They got murdered by Burnley last week. But you've got to fancy Sunderland. They've got to win, Paul. Get form in for the playoffs next weekend. Okay. Swansea are going great. You know, they've won 5 of the last 6 at home. They've won 5 of the last 6 as well. Only Blackburn went there and beat them. So 7-10 for me, I think is a good price. Oxford have improved as the season's gone on. I went Swansea to win and over 2.5 goals again. Okay. Now, there's no pressure on Oxford, so I'll have a go. That was like 18-10, so that's my suggestion there. Watford, Sheffield Wednesday, both limping towards the end of the season. If I was going to have a bet there, it would be in the goals market. You know, both teams to score. I saw 8-10, so that's my suggestion there, alongside over 2.5 goals. But as far as the actual winner goes, Paul, you know, I've watched Watford play against Burnley. They had 2 players sent off, played great. Next time they played, they were woeful. So Tom Cleverley's team, in and out. So if I was, a suggestion would be 5-2 the draw. And last game, big game, Paul. Luton have to get something for this, otherwise they're in trouble as well. But West Brom have fired their manager, Tony Mowbray.
Jesus. So Luton could go down 2 years in a row.
2 years in a row. But I watched them last week, Paul. They scored in injury time. The place went berserk. Playing on that Kenilworth Road, small pitch. Big game, Paul. But for me, I think it'll be a draw.
Your gut feel the bottom 3?
I think my boys are going. I can destroy. I've been liaising, obviously, with my mates over there. A couple of them are going to the game. Well, they destroyed. But that cup run we had, you know, everyone took the eye off. They played Aston Villa and the build up to it. Everyone wanted to play, but we were getting beat in the lead up to it, and we've carried on getting beat.
Should never be in this position.
No, never. I think we beat Fulham on penalties. We've had 2 good cup runs, which hasn't helped our league form. But we get a point. But we're looking at the team. A point's enough, yeah.
Okay, let's go. Best bets, Bud. We haven't got Steve on the line, but we got yours.
Yeah, well, my best bet is Aston Villa. I think 8-10. I had a look this morning. It was 8-10. I know the show had with 7-10, but and now my Liverpool at 21-10. Paul, I just cannot believe
the champions.
Paul, I just cannot see them not going there. You know, and especially Chelsea.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if Tottenham won the league and they went to Arsenal?
They wouldn't. They'd have a full go.
You know, so that's 21-10 Liverpool. I think it's a great price.
Okay, let's go local. Let's go local.
Paul.
The PSL, I've just looked at the results.
Yeah,
Pirates got beat at home.
Yeah.
Stellenbosch won at home.
Yeah, Stevie's team.
And Sundowns, will they win? It's a rubber stamp.
Yeah, the rubber. Paul, they had a chance. Pirates had a chance. They were 12 points behind, but they had a game in hand.
Yes.
Now they're nice. So with 2 games in hand. But I watched Pirates last night because I went both teams to score.
Not good
Getting
enough.
knocked out in the Champions League, flying back from Egypt, obviously didn't help.
Okay.
But they've got the Cup final in 2 weeks. Or next weekend, they play Chiefs in the final in Durban.
In Durban, eh? Okay.
Moses Mabida.
But have you been to stadium lately in Durban?
Not for about a year.
Yeah.
They're upgrading it. I've been past it every day.
So it should be good.
No, the pitch will be okay. It's the surface, it's a problem, Paul.
Okay.
They've all odds and sods on there. And
they need the sods, not the odds. Right, but let's look at the fixtures coming up. You know, they start Friday evening at 7:30. Amazulu at home to Polokwane. Where would they play?
This game's in Umlazi. Kings Willatini. Paul, I fancy Amazulu.
Yeah.
You know, Amazulu don't
They're
get
good
beat at home. They
Yeah.
won 5 or 6. I watched the game where they got beat by TS Galaxy. Trying to play it from the back and they got caught.
Spurs.
Man United as well. Paul, 12-10 Amazulu. Now, there were 3 games last night, so the odds will obviously change.
Yeah.
But this was the odds before the game. Amazulu for me. Golden Arrows, this is the betting odds that did change. Stellenbosch have shortened a lot. But Golden Arrows don't get beat at Hammersdale too often, Paul.
Yeah.
You know, for me, I think Golden Arrows, well, I don't see them getting beat. For me, I think 2-1, the draw is the right play in that particular game.
Okay.
Chiefs, Pirates are by far the better team.
This is for the cup final.
Yeah, cup finals next week. Paul, I don't like what I've seen for Chiefs. This is at FNB. So there'll be a full house there, Paul. We know always will be. Chiefs were woeful. They lost to Maruma Gallants 2-1.
Battled.
Pirates last night, they made a whole lot of changes. They just didn't look right. Will they play their best team against Chiefs, surely, to keep the fans happy?
Would this be an away game for Pirates?
Yeah, well, Orlando Stadium is their main stadium.
Okay.
FNB is where Chiefs play. Yeah, we
same
played.
one, the
same one. They just upgraded
still going,
it.
eh?
Yeah, Paul, they just upgraded it, Paul, that for the World Cup. But if I had to have a bet in this, it's got to be Pirates. But 19-10 the draw, the regular draw with that. Super Sport in trouble, Paul. Obviously, Gavin got fired.
And who's
Andre Orange has been helping out. I don't know if they've got somebody else. Chipper United are woeful away from home. They're struggling to score goals. If ever Super Sport are going to get out of trouble, this is definitely the game they're going to have to. But taking even money, Super Sport, definitely not for me. Magezi, this game's in Petersburg, Paul. They've won their last 6, but Sekakuna, that's my team. I'm an Eric Tinkler man. They beat Pirates last night. Comfortable in the end. Pirates had a guy sent off. This is another close game, Paul, but of the two sides, I backed them last week 27-10. They drew 1-1 with TS Galaxy. 19-10, Paul. They'll obviously may shorten a point or 2 because they beat Pirates, but I don't see Sekakuna losing to Magezi. Cape Town City haven't won in 12 games. They fired Eric Tinkler. They won the first couple and they were cock-a-hoop. They haven't won in 12. Yeah, they're in trouble, Paul. I think it was 5.5 to 10. Can't beat Sundowns. 5.5 to 10. It shortened this morning. Sundowns will destroy them. And the last game, TS Galaxy, Paul, they're hard to beat in Petersburg. Richards Bay, they got beat by Sundowns last night 3-0. Don't score many goals. Defensively sound, but it should be TS Galaxy 8 to 10.
All right, Buzz, tell me about your bets.
Yeah, on to our soccer exotics. Kickoff, these are all Saturday. You know, I've thrown the draw in the Soweto derby, so I've gone Orlando Pirates win and draw against Kaizer Chiefs. I've gone the field in the Golden Arrows versus Stellenbosch match. I'm going for Cagliari to beat Udinese. I don't see Cesc Fabregas' Como losing to Parma, so I've gone Como win and draw. I'm banking Bayern Munich in their quest to win Harry Kane's first trophy, to be too good for RB Leipzig. In the field in the other Bundesliga clash between St. Pauli and VfB Stuttgart, 2-1-6. On to our second soccer 6. I'm banking Everton to beat Ipswich. Hibernian win and draw at home against Dundee United. The field between Leicester and Southampton. Likewise in the St Mirren versus Aberdeen fixture, I'm going for Villarreal to beat Osasuna, and Supersport United win and draw at home against Chipper United, 2-1-6. On to the soccer 10. Again, I've gone Orlando Pirates to avoid defeat against Kaizer Chiefs, and siding with Stellenbosch to avoid defeat against Golden Arrows. 2 bankers, Cagliari to beat Udinese and chancing Como to be too good at Parma, and the field in the St. Pauli versus Stuttgart match. On to our second page, I'm banking Everton to beat Ipswich, Hibernian win and draw against Dundee United, the field in the Leicester City versus Southampton clash. Villarreal to be too good for Osasuna, and Supersport United win and draw against Chipper United, 288. On to the soccer 13, I'm going Arsenal win and draw at home against Bournemouth, banking Everton to beat Ipswich, Southampton win and draw against Leicester City, and Leyton Orient win and draw at Huddersfield Town. Going for Reading to be too good at home against Barnsley. 2 away win and draws, Stockport County against Wycombe Wanderers, and AFC Wimbledon against Grimsby Town. On to the second page, I'm going Notts County win and draw at home against Doncaster Rovers, and into Sweden, I'm siding with IFK Värnamo to avoid defeat at Halmstad. 4 bankers, Valencia to be too good at Las Palmas, Villarreal to beat Osasuna, Inter Milan to beat Hellas Verona, and title chasing Napoli to beat US Lecce, 256.
Excellent. Now my bets, Budge.
Budgie's bets, Paul, there's a couple of good prices this week, strangely. You know, I've gone Aston Villa to beat Fulham and over 2.5 total goals. Then I've gone over 2.5 goals, both teams to score in the Everton, Ipswich and Brighton, Newcastle games, and Liverpool to score first against Chelsea. I saw it 12-10. I thought that was a great price, 4,800 to 200.
Where do you get all these bets from, Budge?
I pull onto all the sites, Paul. I
just go on the sites?
Yeah. Well, I go onto the one site and they've got like 190 different games or different options. So I list everything and then take what I think's the right one. The team goals, so I'm going Aston Villa, Everton, Liverpool and Crystal Palace on Monday, all to score
Aston
over
Villa,
1.5 goals.
Everton, you're hoping for it, okay. Liverpool, we can see. Palace are playing well.
3,200. Well, that was a great
1.
price, yeah. On to the Championship, which is a bit hit or miss this weekend because it's their last game. I'm going Coventry City to beat Middlesbrough, Swansea City to beat QPR. Sorry, Sunderland to beat QPR and Swansea City to beat Oxford United, and over 2.5 total goals in each game. That was 3,200. Both teams to score sides are Bristol City, Preston, Portsmouth, Hull City, Sheffield United, Blackburn, and West Brom, Luton Town, 2,300 to 200. Our Spanish quartet, I'm going Atletico Madrid and Real Madrid to win. Then I'm going Valencia to win or draw and both teams to score against Celta de Vigo. And then I'm going both teams to score in the Espanyol Real Betis match, 2,600 to 200. And this is the biggest 6 on X we've ever had. I'm going Aston Villa to beat Fulham, Everton to beat Ipswich, Liverpool to beat Chelsea, Coventry to beat Middlesbrough, Swansea to beat Oxford, and Real Madrid to beat Celta Vigo. 22-10 Liverpool. That's thrown everything up, 46 to 1. So fantastic, the bet's on, and let's hope we get rewarded.
Well, there we go. That's the story for this week, and there's 4 people left.
4 left,
and the last one standing. Very interesting. Get your bets in time, boys. I'd like to see who's going through, but I've got a funny feeling, Budge, a couple will be on the same team.
No doubt.
No doubt, eh? No doubt.
And with limited choices, Paul, they've only got 7. And you have a look at the games, you know, you've got to take your chances. Yeah.
Hope Dick Goss is studying.
Everton and Brentford, I think those will be the popular ones this week.
Okay. Until next time, stay on side.